Hi, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Keys. I teach grade 4, and today I'm going to read Chapter 16 in our One School, One Book selection, Gooseberry Park by Cynthia Ryland. Chapter 16's title is The Sign, and hopefully today we're going to find out if Stumpy's able to come home. Chapter 16, The Sign. Murray arrived with the watch still in time for lasagna. He zipped down the chimney, popped out into the living room, and plunked the precious object at the feet of Kona, who was sleeping beneath Gwendolyn's bowl. Professor Albert had gone out to play bingo. "Wonderful job, dear," Gwendolyn applauded with her claws. Kona jumped to his feet at the sound of her voice. "It's here? We have it?" he asked. "Ta-da!" Murray pointed to the watch on the floor. The dog took one look and nearly burst into tears. But he knew that would be a very undog-like thing to do. "Murray," Kona said, "after dinner you'll have to take the watch up to the roof and stay there for the rest of the night, until Stumpy finds you." "Right-o," said Murray. "I could use some fresh air anyway. You wouldn't believe my cousin Ralph's apartment. All those pieces of moth. Yuck!" "Did you have any trouble, dear?" asked Gwendolyn. "Nah," said Murray. "Ralph was napping, his second favorite hobby. Besides, I've been sneaking things out of places all my life." "If Stumpy shows up tonight, you'll have more sneaking to do," said Kona. "Sneaking in." "A snap," said Murray. "This house is full of holes." "Wake me up, dear, if I'm sleeping," said Gwendolyn. "Me too," said Kona. "I'll never understand animals who sleep at night," Murray said, shaking his head. "They miss all the good stuff." After he gobbled down a huge plate of lasagna and garlic bread, the little bat picked up the watch and flew out to the roof to wait for Stumpy. Inside the house the night seemed endless. The professor came back home and went to bed. Kona and Gwendolyn went down and tended to the sleeping babies a while, then returned upstairs. They were restless, constantly listening for footsteps on the roof, forever looking out the window. "What time is it, dear?" Gwendolyn asked. "The news is over. Professor Albert's in bed. It must be past midnight." "Poor little Stumpy," said Gwendolyn. "All alone out there, worried so for her children. Natural disasters are hard on families." "Especially families that live in trees," added Kona. The old crab nodded. The two friends talked and waited and waited. Up on the roof Murray was keeping himself occupied by making lists in his head. First he listed things that were green: limes, olives, Christmas trees, Kermit the Frog. He listed yellow things: corn, sunflowers, lemons, Big Bird. Blue things: swimming pools, berries, the sky, Cookie Monster. Murray had watched a lot of Sesame Street in Professor Albert's house. He had gone through a purple list, an orange list, a red list, and a white list, and was just beginning a striped list when he heard someone in the trees whisper his name. "Murray!" The little bat jumped. For a second he forgot about Stumpy and thought his cousin Ralph had found him. "Nope," he said. "Murray, it is you!" A little shadow with a big fluffy tail leaped from way up in the trees and landed on the roof with a thump. Murray knew that tail. "Stumpy! Stumpy!" He jumped up and down, flapping his wings. "Good golly, Miss Molly!" The little red squirrel scurried across the roof and into the light of the watch. Tears were streaming down her face, which made tears stream down Murray's face, and the two stood there on the roof together, hugging and crying. "My babies!" sobbed Stumpy. "Fat and sassy," sobbed Murray. "Kona?" the little squirrel cried. "Fat and bossy," Murray cried harder. Stumpy laughed and began to wipe away Murray's tears. "And you, Murray?" she asked gently. "Just fat," answered the little bat with a teary grin, "and I bet I have the worst garlic breath." Murray sneaked Stumpy through a crack in the house's foundation, and the little mother ran straight across the basement to where her babies lay sleeping. She jumped into the box and picked up all three at once, holding them tight and kissing their little red heads. The children were drowsy, half asleep, but they seemed to recognize their lost mother, for they held tight to her with her tiny paws. Murray thought he might start bawling again. "Where are Kona and Gwendolyn?" Stumpy asked over her children's sleeping heads. "I forgot," said Murray. "I was supposed to tell them first thing." He flew up the basement steps and did a snappy tap dance across the living room floor. Kona raised his big head. He looked at Murray. "Is she here?" Kona asked anxiously. With a big grin, Murray nodded excitedly and pointed to the basement. "Stump!" Kona called. He picked up Gwendolyn, whose antenna flew at the sound of Stumpy's name, and everyone ran for the basement. The joy the friends shared in their reunion was the best treasure of all to be found on Miller Street that evening. And Kona surprised himself. He cried. What a great chapter! Stumpy is home.